I'm almost tempted to say that this game is the Pits, but I'm saving that for Pitfall when we get to that in 5 to 10 years. So today we've got Pitstop from Epix, released in 1983 for Colecovision, and presumably also available on other computer platforms as well because it's fucking Epix. Pitstop is a racing game or driving game similar in vein to pole position. You run a couple laps around a track at the best time possible. Pitstop is a little more involved, however. As the name implies, you may need to make a pit stop or two to replace worn tires and refuel your cart, and uniquely for its day, you're actually taking control of the pit crew to get this all done in a timely fashion. Pitstop features 6 tracks for you to drive around in, and you have multiple modes of play. You could choose to race a single track, a 3-race mini-circuit, or partake in the Grand Circuits where you'll race all 6. You can also set the number of laps you get to drive as low as 3 or as high as 20, so there's a decent amount of options to fiddle around with, which is novel to anyone who hasn't played Atari 2600 games boasting 120 game variations or whatever the case may be. Though ColecoVision had a steering wheel expansion module that you could use to place Pitstop with, the game does work with the standard ColecoVision controller, assuming it functions properly, which I have one at least. So with the standard controller, it's fine, it's responsive, though I'd imagine the steering wheel would make for a better method of control. When it comes to the driving segments, it's not too bad. Turning is fine, avoid bumping into cars and stay on the road. You've got a little mini-map to keep track of where you're at, which is a novel thing at the time. Also quite useful if you want to make a pit stop to get your car fixed up. And you will want to get your car fixed up eventually. So when making a pit stop, you actually take control of the pit crew to take care of all the repairs and refueling. You use the cursor to click on a member of the crew, to pluck a worn tire, replace it with a fresh tire, then you unclick to release control of the member, and pick a number member to do the other tires. Or you click on the guy on top to start refueling, being mindful not to overfill, or else your tank will empty out and you'll need to refill again, which will eat up more time. The pit stop segment might be a bit of a hindrance that slows down the race for some folks, but it does add an element of strategy to the game. Do you try and push things as far as they can go to save a bit of time, or do you make frequent stops to keep things maintained? It doesn't mean much when you only got a couple laps to clear, but bump it up to the full 20 and managing your pit crew as well as your driving skills becomes even more vital to the success and also earning that big prize money. In terms of visuals, Pitstop is fairly plain looking. The pit stop scene is rather nicely rendered, but as far as the actual racing bits are concerned, the karts look alright, though scaling is minimal due to the somewhat high angle used, and since there's virtually no scenery, all the tracks end up looking the same. Really, I could easily cut together a bunch of stuff from different tracks, cover up the minimap, and you wouldn't know the difference. Other than that, all the relevant information is conveyed in a clean enough fashion, there's little to no graphical glitches or flicker. Like I said, not the most amazing looking thing, but it's enough to communicate what's before you without leaving much to the imagination. On the other hand though, the sound output is genuinely shitty. The engine sounds like a constant wet fart, which is rather pleasant sounding, he lied. You have a couple bumps, a jingle or two, and more annoying noises in the pit crew. Yeah, best play this one on mute and pop something else on your audio device of choice to fill the auditory emptiness, such as it is. Overall, Pitstop is a fun little racing game that doesn't need a driving peripheral to play with, though I'd imagine that would be much more fun. But seriously, this is a perfectly fine playing driving game where the driving bits are fairly smooth, and the pit crew stuff is a nice way of mixing things up a bit. I'd imagine that's the part that could make or break the game for some players. Either that's something that could enhance the game for you, or it's a bit that you could do without, but if you can manage that part, there's a fun game to be found in Pitstop that's worth a try. In any event, a quality racing outing for ColecoVision that isn't called Turbo.